My precious Marshmallow and Stars. I know you have one wish, children, and that wish is to see a chess game.
And I have got a game for you, don't you worry. I know you're worried there for a second, but we're gonna check out a game that was played between two lower rated players about 4 years ago. It's a 10+0 rapid game, so it is a bit slower paced. I took a very brief look at this game, and it is quite chaotic, but that's one of the things that makes it a bit more fun. So, okay. White's going for e4, one of the best first opening moves. Black responds with e5. I love this from both sides. It's really nothing to write home about. Excellent move. All right. White's going ahead and developing their knight, putting pressure on this pawn. And okay, black is pushing this way. This is the first real mistake of this game. It by far would have been better just to develop your own knight, just to defend this pawn, or I also kind of like this move. Pushing forward, giving yourself reinforcements, makes a little bit of a goofy move by defending your pawn this way. Except this is a very weird scenario where this pawn actually isn't defending, and this pawn isn't being defended, and black can actually just take. And the reason why is that white's queen is going to get in, and at the very least you're going to lose this pawn. But what a lot of people will end up doing is pushing here, just so the queen's under attack. They take anyways. You have to either move your king or block, and then you lose the rook. And from here you would lose the rest of the game more than likely, but none of that ends up happening, I believe. Let me see here. Yeah, none of that ends up happening. This is still excellent for white. Even though that, like, you're holding onto your rook, you're holding onto your pawn, all that good stuff. White is further ahead in development, and I don't even want to look at that. I need some good luck right here. Oh. This is very, very bad. We'll go over this in a second, but black really should develop knights. Try and get more pieces out into the game as quickly as possible. Even something like fianchettoing your bishop here. But you need to start getting your pieces out so that white isn't able to launch an attack on their own. But okay, going here is kind of a big waste of time. Computer really likes going here for some reason. It's to get to this square. Ooh, that is a strong square for the knight. But this move is a bit of a waste of time, because white is going to start opening up the board here, and white's the one who's going to actually have time to get pieces out and control that. Basically, white's in the driver's seat from this position by force, and white actually plays the best move here. Let's see how black responds. Black responds in a very convoluted way. So again, you don't, you can take here. It is probably pretty good. The back of my head is itchy. It's like itchy. Sometimes I like to just give it a little bit of a whoo! That didn't really do. Oh, that's actually kind of refreshing. White ends up responding in the most accurate way, which is pushing a pawn forward. And black should take here and essentially just give up the center at this point. Develop a bishop, there's a pin here. It is very ugly. I would not want to play this position as black, but black goes for this instead, which I guess this pawn's push can still happen, by the way. You can take, they could even take back, have a giant knight in the center. But this does not do a good job at holding the position together at all. Well, computer even likes this, getting the bishop out and really laser beaming this whole diagonal, and this king is already starting to have some problems. But white ends up pushing again. White should, I like this bishop move, but computer is saying the best move is to take here. And if he takes back, then you have a crazy monster knight in the center. Computer likes this coming back, and look at black's position. All of your pieces besides the queen are still on the back rank. White has 2 developed knights, and not only that, but there's easy room to start getting your own pieces out as white. So this is pretty bad, but that doesn't end up happening. White is pushing. I don't think white should take here. I think white should really spend this time to develop. It's basically an emergency at this point. The computer likes going here, and I'm assuming if takes, you can get your knight into the game. At least you have something developed. This is a monster knight that's going to be hard-ish to get out of the game, or to get out of that spot, because you have to spend more time taking it, and white has a just monster center here. It's very cramped as black in this position, and you're gonna have a hard time untangling here. Like you're gonna be playing on the defensive the entire game. One of the things that's crazy about this is that does this end up happening? Yeah. One of the things that's crazy about this is that it's only +1 for white, which means the game is still essentially a draw. But practically speaking, it's way more hard to play as black. And really, if anybody's playing for the win, it would be white. And the computer says it's a draw, but I do think that white is crushing here. From the human perspective, at least. Okay. Computer prefers taking this way. I would have loved to have seen the knight take, but hey, he does play the best move. From here, computer suggesting to bring the bishop out. I would love to see that move. Reinforcing the center is also pretty good. This is, like, I don't necessarily hate this. I think the thought process behind it is to find a square for the bishop to feed Keto. I actually do think it is pretty good. From a practical perspective, I think this move would have put a bit more pressure onto white and would have had to basically force white to make a decision, because having a bishop on this strong of a diagonal is a bit of a nuisance. But still, I like this, and I'm sure that white still has a pretty decent advantage. Black ends up pushing. Oh, no, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Don't listen to me. Black pushes this pawn. Pushing this pawn is very bad. The reason why is because it doesn't really, it's a waste of time. You really want to get some more pieces out. Your pieces are what really is your main value engines in chess. And you don't really want to push a pawn forward unless you see a clear reason to. Computer suggesting so many different things. Get pieces developed, like get your knight out. The computer also likes this move for some reason, but yeah, essentially this pawn push is a big old waste of time. White is fianchettoing their bishop. I think it's fine. It's nothing too crazy, nothing to write home about, but it's good to find good squares for your pieces to go to. This is really bad. So like, if you're going to play this, you should have played it back here. So by doing it like this, you're wasting even more time. And computer, of course, still says that it's a draw, but I would hate to play this as black. Look at this. Black does not have a single piece off of the back rank. He's just playing with his pawns over here. Black's having a party. Listen. Black's having a party, and all the pawns are invited, you know what I mean? But okay. White developing the queen, getting the queen on a more active square. putting some pressure on this pawn. Maybe at some point you could try to even win that thing. I like this. Gonna eventually castle on this side. White is really doing quite well. This is no idea what this is. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Like, it still would have been better for the millionth time in a row, develop a bishop, develop your knight. Computer likes pushing pawns this way. Maybe get this knight out of here. This is just a big waste of time, but hey, you know what? At least black has moved a piece off of the back rank, so that is progress. Castling, white is doing so good. This pawn is starting to get a bit weak. Like, it's defended right now by this bishop, but now this bishop has a job to do, and the job is to defend this pawn. You know, crazy enough, okay, I was gonna say I don't hate this just because you're trying to eye up in this direction, but you're restricting your own bishop so much. You can still develop this game this way. This game is very unusual, by the way. I feel like people don't really play like this. White is playing like a normal human being. Black is on a whole other level over here. But okay, white is pushing, trying to develop fianchetto the bishop this way. I like it. This knight move, it's one of the lines recommended by the computer, but computer prefers coming out this way instead. It would be better to centralize your knight, maybe to try and make some kind of pawn pushes. Well, you can defend your pawn. By developing on this side, your knight's definitely a bit weaker, just because, like, all he really has to do is push this pawn forward, and where's your knight ever gonna go? Like, you'll have to come back, and I don't know. I would much rather have this knight towards the center. And another thing is having your knight over here is like maybe one day you can try and get it closer towards the king side to launch some type of attack against the king. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but there's more opportunity for the knight developing it towards the center. But even having your knight developed over here is way better than never moving it at all. So, I mean, we're making some progress here. His knight coming this way. Computer really likes this move, and it's I believe it's just to come here at some point. Not right now. Ooh. No. You, by playing this, pawns can't go backwards. And by playing this, you're making a big hole for black's knight to come in. This hole is a little bit temporary because it still can get kicked away. But why even allow any of this in the first place? You can restrict black's position so much more just by pushing this pawn forward. But okay, black is responding by taking this pawn, or by pushing this pawn forward, but you are leaving stuff hanging of your own. So takes, jumps in for some reason, takes again, and then he's... Okay, this doesn't win the queen. This is getting convoluted because you can just block. So hang on, I have to find my inner peace here. All right, it's okay, Bucko. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. So I think black thought that he was winning the queen just because it's on the same... The bishop is on the same diagonal as the queen and the king. So if the queen moves anywhere, you could just take the king. But this block here exists, and you're essentially forcing white to find that move. White is blocking this pin, and taking this pawn is ill-advised just because white is going to be able to take control of the center and basically you're gonna have a hard. It's not gonna be possible to take it back. Black's position is really, really weak. You still have 2 entire pieces stuck on the back rank. This knight is extremely loose, and the worst of it all is that the Black King is stuck here in the center. Castling is essentially a death sentence. Hey, between me and you, this knight is pinned right now. So look, you don't want to take this pawn because White's going to be able to push forward and break apart your center. Black should have taken here and then taken the knight with check, and that would have given a better position overall. But instead, Black takes this pawn, which I think is a very human move, but it allows White to push this pawn forward and essentially destroy what little defensive resources Black has in the center. And from here, Black makes their position even worse by pushing this pawn forward. And this just helps White in their attack. White wants to chip away at what little pawns they have left. And okay, White is taking back. This is a creative idea. You can't take the pawn because then you'll lose your queen, but you're opening yourself up to more danger over here, which, you know, White doesn't even go for. White moves their knight back, but essentially allows Black to take this pawn and remove White's biggest and strongest attacking piece, which makes Black's king significantly safer and a bit harder to checkmate. I think objectively it is still very much losing here for Black. I mean, it is by a long shot. You're going to have such a hard time ever holding on to this position. But Black does not take this pawn. I don't even know what the idea of this move is. I mean, it gets off the diagonal at least, so it helps prevent some certain ideas, but would have been way better just to take this pawn and get this queen out of here. But okay, Black ends up taking this way, which that was probably the idea of moving the queen up 1 square. It's to give this bishop time to take, but you're winning a tempo on this queen that you don't really need. And if anything, in the long run, this bishop is a little bit awkward. And it's not like it's going to be hard to remove. Computer's suggesting castles here, which is completely unhinged. But okay, he takes the pawn here. He takes the pawn, blunders this fork. So this is actually a double check. So the bishop can't take. You're going to have to move your king somewhere, and then you're going to lose your queen. And there might even be some sort of like a forced mating pattern coming up. And whoa, okay, that doesn't even end up happening in the game. He moves this way with check, which I still really like. But it's a bit weaker because you can block the check with the rook. But he doesn't do that, and he hangs the rook again. Does this... So you can move here, check, move over. This would have been a better way to hold on, but I guess he just didn't see that. Moves over again in a very, very bad square because this checks. Your king is in check again. It would have been a lot better to take with the knight, most likely. Let's see what happens here. He never even takes the rook. White never takes the rook here. You can take this rook very safely because it comes with a check. Take that material, it's right there. I don't even necessarily hate this though, just because it's developing another piece. You have a nice pin against this knight. I think probably the only reason why it's saying that this move is a mistake is because you missed an opportunity to take this rook, but I still like that move. he moves his rook back to get out of the check, but you could have just moved it and to attack the queen. But okay, I kind of like this. Computer doesn't like it, but I kind of do, just because he's trying to put pressure over this on this side. I mean, no, this is a mistake. You should have left the rook here, because if takes, and if you take back, then your own rook is going to be hanging, along with this one over here. Moving the rook here is a bit of a missed opportunity. This is just a wild, wild game. This is a wild game. This is a wild, wild, wild game. And you know what the worst part about all of this is that there was barely any freaking marshmallows in this like magic cereal, and I'm upset about it. If you get like regular like name brand Lucky Charms, they load you up with marshmallows, and I feel like I've just been ripped off. And you know what? I think I'm going to write a strongly worded letter about that. But okay, life goes on. Pushing the pawn forward. I hate this. I hate this so much. Like, yes, you're attacking this knight. This knight can basically go anywhere. This pawn, you're gonna lose this pawn. There's so many potential attackers against this. Okay, you are. Wait. I missed this for a second. I was getting distracted by the Lucky Charms. This is hanging, and probably would have been better to take it. This is getting a bit convoluted here. This. Where's your queen going, bud? Your queen? You gonna go here and then here? And then what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? You gonna take over here? Yeah? You gonna go like this? And then come over here? You gonna take this? Wait, can you take this sucker? Oh, I don't think that's where you go right here. Gotta be very, very careful. I don't even know what's the game and what's real life. I don't even know what's happening anymore. I am deeply concerned, disturbed, and confused. So, okay. Moving the knight, attacking the bishop, great idea. Moving this bishop over, this has got to be losing the game by force. But black takes this way. And I probably would have been better to take with the bishop there, but hey, you know, to each their own. Take this knight, or get this. I mean, you gotta take the knight so that you're not losing the queen. Thank you. This. Oh! This queen is hanging. This queen is hanging, my man. Take that sucker. And from here. This almost works. This almost works, but it's defended. I think they're getting under time pressure here. No, they have like almost 2 and 3 minutes respectively. They have so much time. I think they're just getting a little bit panicked here. And you know what's crazy? We're gonna take a second to understand this. It feels weird even analyzing this, because this is so chaotic and it's so unlikely to happen in any like amateur level chess games. But there are some incredible tactics here. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff that I'm just glossing over, and like differences between move orders and just things of that nature. And trying to analyze tactics from games like these is a bit hard, because your pattern recognition isn't really going to kick in, because these aren't typical patterns that you will ever see. But let's go here. This is a big mistake just because that knight is hanging. The computer really likes this move, taking back with the bishop, but white takes this rook. By taking this rook, you're opening yourself up to a big attack. And I guess by taking... If you take this bishop instead, you have, at the very least, an additional defender to help you defend your king. Black is still winning here. Well, I guess Black's winning everywhere. Let's be real here. But okay, taking this way, Black is just winning a bit faster. I want to see if they convert. here. So, okay. White moves over. Black is... You're also... I guess the most important part of all this is that your own bishop is hanging, which he misses, and I honestly did miss too. It would have been a lot better to take this bishop. But, okay. Black takes back and is... White takes back, and black is still absolutely crushing. So computer... I don't even know what's happening right now. There is no computer here. There's only pain and suffering. So black takes this pawn. I don't necessarily hate it, but black really has to be careful not to blunder their queen. If you blunder your queen, white's going to win. The advantage that black has is very overwhelming, but it's not like it can't still be accidentally given away. And it really is important to make sure that you're taking your time here and just double checking each move. Like you're crushing. You're absolutely crushing, and you have almost a whole 3 minutes left to make decisions. Like maybe put some pressure on this rook, go for like a check with the knight on this side. So black does move over here and attack the rook, which I think is an excellent move. White moves the rook over 1 square. I think it probably is pretty important to keep this rook defending this back rank here. If anything, like you might want to just like bundle up, just lock yourself down. Even that is going to be rough because this pawn can just slowly queen, and it looks like that's probably going to end up happening. White moves their bishop right here, which is just in clear line of sight of this queen. It also keeps an eye on the pawn at the same time, so this is a wondrous, generous gift. A check, by the way, too, which makes it even worse. This just blunders the pawn. Doesn't end up happening. This is really hurting. This is really hurting me, man. This is hurting. Take it. Take it. Yeah. Yeah. Check. Yeah, move over. If you check this again, you can check again. Block it. You can take it with a check. Yeah, move. No. Just go for some type of mate here. Like you can don't blunder your queen, but it's definitely possible. White's king does not have a whole lot of squares left. It is easy to track it down. Okay, I do like that this is a check. I think we're getting into a bit of a time scramble here. White has 51 seconds. Moving back. It's definitely getting a bit complicated. You could probably even take that. I don't know, man. Okay, so take this. Check. Pick up the bishop. Please don't lose your queen. What in tarnation? Oh, please. Okay. From here, white times out with 3 seconds left.